In 1973, a small sailboat named Triton left port expecting a routine voyage across the Pacific. Instead, the people on board would experience one of the most psychologically brutal survival ordeals the ocean can create. They would drift more than 1,000 miles, and they would survive for over 70 days. At sea, survival stories often focus on storms, shipwrecks, or sharks. But the real enemy offshore is usually something much quieter: time. Because the ocean has a way of stretching time until it becomes almost unbearable. For the survivors of the Triton, the nightmare began when their boat was damaged far from land. Without a functioning vessel and with limited supplies, they were forced into survival mode. At first, the situation didn't feel catastrophic. Many survival stories begin this way. There is still hope, still adrenaline, still the belief that rescue might arrive quickly. The first day passes with palpable tension, but also a shared determination. People meticulously ration supplies. They organize what little equipment remains. They scan the empty horizon for passing ships. But the ocean is vast, and in the open Pacific, a small craft drifting between waves can become nearly invisible. Then comes something survival psychologists often talk about: the second night. For people stranded at sea, the second night is often when the mind begins to break. The first night is still powered by adrenaline, but by the second night, exhaustion sets in. The darkness becomes heavier, and the realization starts creeping in: no one is coming yet. For the Triton survivors, this moment didn't last for 2 nights. It stretched for weeks. Days blurred into a monotonous cycle of scorching sun and chilling nights. With no escape from the elements, the salt water and relentless UV rays turned their skin into a canvas of sores and burns. They rigged a small piece of torn sail for shade, a meager shelter that offered only fleeting moments of relief from the oppressive, ever-present heat. Food became dangerously scarce, reduced to a few crumbs of biscuit per person, per day. Dehydration was a constant gnawing threat that slowly weakened everyone on board. They tried to collect dew and even attempted crude desalination, but these efforts yielded almost nothing, deepening their despair as the last of their fresh water dwindled. But as their own world shrank, they became aware they were not alone. There was something else in the water, something ancient and patient, something watching: sharks. In the vast emptiness of the open ocean, sharks are drawn to any anomaly: floating debris, wounded animals, or a small struggling vessel filled with weakening humans. At first, it was a single fin, a fleeting shadow. Then more appeared. They circled the boat with a quiet, unnerving purpose, their movements methodical. The nights were worse. The unseen presence was amplified by the darkness, every splash and bump against the hull igniting fresh waves of fear. While most sharks are not inherently interested in attacking humans, their constant silent patrol added a profound psychological weight. It was a primal, relentless pressure, a reminder that they were adrift in a world not their own, where they were no longer at the top of the food chain. Imagine drifting day after day, the sun beating down, with the same silent shapes circling just beneath the surface. Always there, always watching. At night, the fear intensifies. Every splash, every bump against the hull becomes a potential threat, a reminder of the thin barrier separating them from the deep. The constant vigilance is a unique form of psychological torture, wearing down their nerves with each passing hour. And the ocean offers no escape. It is a vast, indifferent prison of blue, where the horizon is a constant, mocking promise of a destination that never arrives. Over the next 70 days, the survivors face not only hunger and thirst, but also the slow, insidious erosion of hope. Each sunrise brought a fresh wave of despair, each sunset a confirmation of another day lost. In this state of deprivation, the mind begins asking dangerous questions. How long can this continue? How far have we drifted? Are we sailing in circles? Will anyone ever find us? Or have we already been forgotten? Doubt becomes a mutiny within the self. Survival stories often hinge on small, agonizing decisions. When to conserve energy, and when to expend it on a desperate, perhaps futile, task. When to speak words of encouragement, and when to preserve the silence. And most critically, when to keep believing rescue is not just possible, but inevitable. And sometimes, survival simply depends on raw endurance. Holding on one more day, then one more, and then another. Each sunrise was a victory, but also a reminder of their isolation. The days blurred into a monotonous cycle of conserving energy, scanning the horizon, and fighting off despair. They made promises to each other in the quiet moments, vowing to see land again, a pact that became their most vital ration. By the time rescue finally arrived, the Triton survivors had drifted more than 1,000 miles across the open ocean, pushed by currents they couldn't fight. There had been false hopes, distant ships that passed like ghosts on the horizon, too far to see their frantic waves or the weak smoke from their makeshift signals. Each missed opportunity was a crushing blow to their morale. 70 days, 2 months surrounded by endless water. 2 months living with the intimate knowledge that the ocean could take them at any moment. Then, on the 70th day, a shape that was not a cloud or a wave resolved into the outline of a vessel. This time, it was real. This time, it turned towards them. Their survival story reveals something important about life at sea. The ocean does not always attack violently with storms and waves. Sometimes it simply removes your control, isolates you in its vastness, and waits. It tests the limits of human spirit, seeing just how long you can endure.